process.
Okay. So let's begin just by taking a nice deep breath. Be breathing in and out. Just take a second to really come into your seat, whether that's feeling your thighs against your cushion or the floor. You might be taking a few shoulder rolls or neck rolls. Perhaps check in on the jaw. And as we start our practice, we might imagine ourselves sitting at the base of a big tree at night. In the forest or the woods where you can feel the earth kind of smell, that little damp leaves and tree smell wafting into your nose. Perhaps the tree make a little natural seat around you, so cradled and held, able to relax into its bark. Temperature around us, we can hear wind leaves. We might feel the breeze, arms, chins.
Hey, Eli, a lot of people
Eli, a
are
lot of
saying that
people
the
are the
audio is
audio is
glitchy.
glitching.
Oh, thank you so much. So sorry. We'll try
Yeah,
this way
thank you.
first. All right, we'll start again. Take a breath. Come to your seat, and if you can remember Mother Harriet, just keep her in your mind. As you breathe in and out, just imagine yourself at the base of a big tree, sitting in a forest or woods at night. We feel the earth gently holding us. We feel the bark on our back as we settle in. And we can start to imagine the moonlight gently sprinkling out through the trees, dappling our skin, bathing us. Take a couple deep breaths with this moonlight as we breathe in, feeling it just from the crown of our head all the way down, cascading over the body. And as we breathe out, it starts to absorb into the center. You can imagine with each breath, a little cloud of moonlight starts to form in the belly. With a lot of protector practices, we work with colors, we work with mantras, and for Mother Harriet, no color seemed appropriate. And so for me lately, I've been using moonlight. Just this offering from the skies. The light of stars, the things that guided her way. The same moon. She wasn't so long ago. We can bask in this light, and as it slowly sinks into the skin, perhaps it offers a little space to any crunchy parts of our body, any tension. If any pains are arising that don't feel ready to change, perhaps it just shines a light on them. sit with, to acknowledge, and to come home. And we can root down into stillness. Her expression feels good as we slowly start to imagine Mother Harriet appearing before us. Perhaps she sits on her chair across the way, sits at the base of another tree. Maybe even she starts to slowly form like smoke, rising from top of our heads. And as we breathe with her, we might internally or out loud open up space, saying, Mother Harriet, I invite you into practice. I invite you into this moment. Please be with me as I work towards liberation. Our next deep breath might be the deepest breath we've taken all day, all week, maybe even all year. And on the exhale of that, sigh out. Letting the sighs of our ancestors come through, letting Mother Harriet's hand perhaps gently rest on our shoulder. She doesn't need to say anything in particular to us, but she can. More than anything, she's here as a reflection of us, as our own light, mirrored, so we might move towards ourselves. And as we feel grounded or whatever is arising in our seat, we'll move into a little different structure today. We'll start with our mantra and then move into a bell sound bath that I'll explain later. I'll paste it in the chat for us. We'll be working with the mantra from the Heart Sutra, which is Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvaha. This is a rough translation, one translation, gone beyond, gone completely beyond, awakened, so be it. And in this kind of energy, with Mother Harriet, I think of what does it take to go beyond? Right? To be born into chains, yet deeply know your freedom so intimately that you are able to leave and then come back and free others. To go beyond what we think we deserve. To go beyond what we think is the truth and to know deeply. To believe in our freedom and that we do deserve it. And that it is something we can rediscover, recreate, not new. Just wait. With the toll of the bell, the train begins. The coal is lit, the fire is going, and we can feel that kind of chugging of liberation, that effort, that work, that love, as we chant together. Gate, gate, paragati, parasamgati, Gati Bodhisvaha. Gati Gati Paragati Parasangati Bodhisvaha. Gati Gati Paragati Parasangati Bodhisvaha. Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati 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 Bodhisvaha. And just feeling that resonance, feeling that energy of our voices. We'll move into a little New Year's Eve bell ringing. So you can take this like a sound bath. In various traditions on New Year's Eve, there's a ritual or service called Joya no Kane, and it's to let go, hopefully this year. The kind of Buddhist math of 108 comes up a lot of times. It's, one way of thinking of it is there's three ways to be, now, past, future, positive, neutral, negative, and then you keep like timesing those out and it gets to 108. But rather than doing math, which I'm not here for personally, I like to think of just 108 opportunities, right? The numbers of beads on a mala or on a nenju, the rosary, is 108. And as the bell rings, it'll start slow, speed up, go slow again. Take each chance as a moment of return. Right? Whether we're letting them pass over us, whether a few tolls go by and we realize, oh, I'm not here, let me come back. We can also take the invitation to See what feels like it could be let go of. What could start being let go of as we go into this next year? What if we carried that is ready to be put down? There's that old parable of the boat, not the anger boat, but the one you carry. Right? There's somebody who's walking through the forest. This is a rough translation of this one, but somebody's walking through the forest. They come across a river and they need to be able to cross it. It's a monk and his young novice student. They have no boat to pass it, and there's an old woman also trying to cross. At the time in the Vinaya, it's illegal. Inappropriate to pick up a woman or touch a woman. But he sees they all need to go across the river. The older monk picks her up on his back, gives her a piggyback ride, puts her back on the other side. They continue walking. The young monk is kind of disturbed all day, stewing in his own mind, not saying anything, but the older can tell he's upset. Finally, at the end of the day, he says, "I can't be your student anymore." And the monk goes, "Oh, is that so? Would you like to tell me why?" And he goes, "You broke your vows. I can't believe you would just so casually break your vows. You picked up that woman." And the older monk goes, "Okay, well, if that's how you feel, you can do that. But, I set that woman down at the edge of the river. You've been carrying her all day." In his mind. And so I think of for myself, what do I carry without even realizing? What has been heavy on my back? That may have served me, right? May have, at its kernel, pointed me towards a direction, but what have I let box me in? Let unbox it now, right? There's no limit to where we can go. So this will just be gentle bell rings. Please take deep breaths, move, stretch, do whatever feels good. And then we'll move into our normal communal prayers in the second half of our Mother Harriet main practice, which will be singing a spiritual together. We can take a deep breath in. Let it all go. Come to the seat. And we'll be doing the small bells today. I like to sometimes think of these as, it's snowing right now where I am. Maybe it's raining, or even just you can imagine the wetness, the humidity of a rainy forest day, right? As you sit at the base of that tree, if you want to return to it. And for me, this is each dewdrop, touching a leaf, rolling off, touching my skin from the earth, and then rolling off, joining the earth again. This is each bell that's ever rung out, these physical sound waves. As we simply notice and tend to ourselves. breath in and out, wherever you are. And as we kind of listen to, the light bells today, not even the big one, because kind of, we won't get into that why, but as we listen to that light bell, we can hear it in our spirit maybe. Just reverberating. Cleansing. And we can move whatever has arisen, whatever intention, gratitude we've gathered into these communal prayers which are in the chat that we will recite together before moving into our spiritual. And so you may just listen to me, you can join me with palms together if that's good to you. We'll just take a nice cleansing breath. May all beings be free. May those suffering experience liberation. May we hold each other through revolution. May we abolish everything that is not love. May we rebirth a free world. Ashe. And we'll take that energy of those spirits and whatever else is coming to you to the second part of our another Harriet practice. This link here is our entire Google Drive folder with our resources, my workbook, our larger practice that we use, bells, and it has all the tools, but I'll also just paste the spiritual in the chat so you don't have to go back and forth if that's not your preference. Give me 1 second. Today, since it's the last day of the year, we'll be working with the goodbye song again. We did We Shall Not Be Moved last week. This the week before. We kind of alternate, not so every other, but just as it feels appropriate. This song is by Cynthia Erivo and Terrence Blanchard, a modern spiritual. If anybody knows me in non-virtual life, you'll know I'm pretty much in love with Cynthia Erivo. She's my guiding light musically. She brings me home. And so she played Harriet, the movie, Celie in the color purple one, very big ears. And this song, Harriet used to sing. You can't just walk up to somebody trying to free them in the middle of a field and be let's go, right? It has to be different things and just sing from different trees to people. Let them know she's there, let them know she's gone. In the movie, the song is one of the things where she goes for the first time she leaves, she sees her mother who's for the fields. She sings it, it becomes I have an idea. My battery just said, what if I plug you in? Sorry, I'm dog sitting in a house under construction, so it's not very beautiful. How are we with sound now? Better. Okay, perfect. Lovely. And I have original sound on, thank you. I don't know why, everything that I have, when the battery gets low, it might as well just have died. But that's a good lesson for myself as well. But yeah, so we have been working with this song. She sings it in the movie as she's going, and though she's the beginning of the song, right? She sings it to her mother. The way they communicate is her mom starts singing it too, and the whole community does, right? So there are slave catchers trying to find her. They can't. There's no beginning of that song. There's no locus. There's no center. It's the whole community's song. And work songs, spirituals in general, are songs that people sing when they can't stop, right? When there is no option to just stop and sit. It's something you do when you grieve in motion, right? The other one we sing is we cannot be moved when you become an immovable, ever-moving thing, right? How do we do that? How do we ground into something sacred and sturdy while letting it go in every second to transform into the next version of it, to keep rebirthing of itself, so we don't get stuck in these, traditions for tradition's sake or lineages that become ultimately about power. We're not trying to recreate power structures, we're trying to dissolve them and see through. And so this song for me is a really good song. I'll paste it again because everybody was helping me, so now it's at the bottom. There we go. The lyrics are now at the bottom again. And I'll sing it 3 times, so you can join in, you can just listen the whole time, really just grounding into being able to say goodbye to the folks we need to say goodbye to. Right? Lama Rod says, not everybody wants to make it, right? Not everybody wants to come to liberation, and that's a grieving in itself. For me, I also like to say goodbye to the parts of myself that have been hesitant towards letting me heal, to thank them for protecting me and for looking out for me, but to also ultimately say, I will meet you again when I'm ready, when I'm healed enough to face this, and when I've worked it out. And then, as somebody with so many Palestinians in my life, living in the county that has the most Palestinians in the whole country, and my partner, my chosen family are all Palestinian, thinking of really the martyrs and the people that I've lost, no matter where, singing this to me as I sing it to them. Right? As we chant, we're not chanting to hear our own voices. One thing one of my teachers, Ogui Sensei, used to say is chant with your ears, right? We're chanting so that we can hear the voices that are outside just this one. We can listen and have our ancestors sing along with us in this breath. And something Aaron Johnson, a really wonderful black spiritual leader right now, who's online, gives a bunch of good teachings and song lessons and song circles, was saying one of the things that's been passed down through black lineages is the reason we sing so much, the reason there's the caricatures of black people singing, dancing, all of those different things, it is you listen so deeply, your feet have to move. You get into the song so deeply, your hands have to move, right? I'm not singing to sing. I'm not singing even just to express. I'm singing because I have to, because this is how I learn to act, right? This is how I keep going. And my singing is an action in itself. My voice is an action in itself. And so being able to allow myself into the voices of those who have come before me has been one of the biggest portals I've found. One of the most expansive ones. And so today we sing to each other, we sing to ourselves, and we let those who have sung these words sing to us as well. The melody kind of repeats. You can pick it up as it goes on. Or feel free to just listen, move, whatever feels good. We'll take another deep breath. Let it out. Come back to the moonlight. Come back to Mother Harriet. Come back to your body, to what feels appropriate and sustainable right now for you. When that Pharaoh chariot comes, I'm gonna leave you. I'm bound for the promised land. I'm gonna leave you. I'm sorry, I'm gonna leave you. Farewell, oh farewell. But I'll meet you in the morning. Farewell, oh farewell. Meet you in the morning. I'm bound for the promised land. On the other side of Jordan. I'm bound for the promised land. I'm sorry I'm gonna leave you. Farewell, oh farewell. But I'll meet you in the morning. Farewell, oh farewell. And again, when that Pharaoh chariot comes, I'm gonna leave you. I'm bound for the promised land. I'm gonna leave you. I'm sorry I'm gonna leave you. Farewell, oh farewell. But I'll meet you in the morning. Farewell, oh farewell. I'll meet you in the morning, bound for the promised land. On the other side of Jordan, I'm bound for the promised land. I'm sorry I'm gonna leave you. Farewell, oh farewell. But I'll meet you in the morning. Farewell, oh farewell. I'll meet you in the morning. Farewell, oh farewell. Before we go into our last verse of this, we just open ourselves, open your heart, open whatever you can. Let go whatever feels like letting go of. Let the tears fall, let your breath hitch. I really invite us to open our eyes, to look at ourselves and what we need, where we are, and to let the pain be an indicator of where we direct our care. Let it keep going. Let it flow. And whatever doesn't arise for us, no judgment. We're just working with what's here. There is no lack. This trick of scarcity is haunting us in capitalism, in industry, in globalization, in modernization. But abundance is truly what we can root into, not in a just, woo-woo, new wave Instagram post way, but in a true facts of the land way. In the way that when I walk outside, I step onto an earth that has never let me go. And that is an experience I can root into. A truth that I can learn every day with my feet on the ground. That gravity has always been a gentle blanket holding me to this earth, and I have not floaten away. No matter how ungrounded I have felt, I have been tethered. And so, we'll sing this one more time, opening up our spirit to wordless invitation. Not putting any labels on this, but just letting it in, letting it out. And so we breathe in together. When that Pharaoh chariot comes, I'm gonna leave you. I'm bound for the promised land. I'm gonna leave you. I'm sorry I'm gonna leave you. Farewell, oh farewell. But I'll meet you in the morning. Farewell, oh farewell. I'll meet you in the morning. I'm bound for the promised land. On the other side of Jordan, I'm bound for the promised land. I'm sorry I'm gonna leave you. Farewell, oh farewell. But I'll meet you in the morning. Farewell, oh farewell. Two more times. I'll meet you in the morning. Farewell, oh farewell. I'll meet you in the morning. Farewell, oh farewell. Take a moment to hug that sound to you, to feel it in your bones, to know that there are beings who have gone to prepare a place for us. They've done it already. This dance of freeing themselves, of liberation, of turning the wheel, of again and again. Now, restart, restart. Mother Harriet was an extraordinary person, an extraordinary being who defied all odds, and has a very ordinary tale of human history, of suffering and seeing through, of remembering her own liberation, and instead of falling into the narratives around her, acting in accordance with only that liberation as her light. May we thank her for joining us in this practice, and may we attune ourselves to that kind of radical compassion, the kind of grief in motion that it takes to say goodbye to your mother working in a field, because you know freedom is coming. Right? Any of us, but especially, me as a queer and trans person, having left my biological family, coming from a family who also left their family because they were abusive, right? We are all trying to see through. And it's not the first time, nor will it be the last. May we collectively till this land until it becomes a Buddha field. Because the Buddha is just a title, right? It's not a name. It's a true title. It's Mother Harriet. It's Jesus. It's Buddha. It's whoever. It's each and every one of us. If we can believe it. Right? It's not a title that somebody can just give you. It's a title you embody. And so how do we get that into our bones? How do we get that freedom back into our bones? And let that nourishment, let that marrow seep out into the land, fertilizing it again. There's so much love for us. There's so much to go through, and there's so much to see through, and yet it's all right here. That kind of beautiful paradox of, fuck, why can't I just be here? Right? When I'm having a great moment and I'm like, stuck in stressful thoughts of something that I'm imagining, not even real that happened, something I'm making up, a hypothetical. I can get so frustrated. I'm just like, why am I hypothetically suffering when there's real and true life happening in front of me? But I get it. I've been trained to divorce myself from reality, from my body, from my experience, from my instincts, from the truth of my ancestors. Because it's dangerous to power. To live radically in your spirit, in your bones. To know that whatever weapons come forth, whatever rockets are launched on me, I'll pick up a stone because the land is my body and throw it back. To not have barriers of these fingers being the only things that can pick things up for me. And so as we close out this Mother Harriet practice, as we close out this year, hopefully we can sit a little bit in those waters. The first time she left the plantation, she had to jump into a river that was flowing not knowing if she would sink or die, or get crushed by a rock, hit on impact. People were surrounding her, and the last thing she said before she left is, "I'll get free or die." The Buddha sat down at the base of that tree and said, "I'm not getting up until I'm free." And so what does it take? What's in us? What do we need to find, discover, allow to bloom? To also have that kind of trust within ourselves that it's here. It's right inside, waiting to be activated, to be alchemized, right, into true liberation. How does my community form in each breath? That's what this practice teaches me. So, thank you all so much for your practice, for sitting with me, for being with me on this last day of the year. We're in Capricorn season, and I'm a 5 placement Capricorn, so we're inching towards my birthday, but this is where I come alive. And I think more than me coming alive, this is where everybody else kind of slows down to my speed, and I feel more related to. I'm like, oh, we're all in deep grief and sad that it's cold? Great, let's play. So it was nice to play with you all today. I'll go ahead and end the recording.